You've seen it in your 401k, you've seen it on the news. Everyone knows that the stock market is crashing. The president today just said that we are likely going into the next recession, the first since 2008. But here are a few stocks and a few sectors I believe can outperform the current market environment and actually turn around very nice gains. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's get into the top picks that I have for the best stocks to be trading right now. Hey everyone, my name is Tony. I am the lead trader and educator of TradeBuddy, where I teach people how to day trade and swing trade for a living. And we've been kind of talking about this whole coronavirus pandemic ever since late January is when it first kind of came into the news, where it was spreading in China. And a few of us have really been just keeping a very close eye on this, and we've kind of understood how severe this could become, and we've been kind of prepared on what we need to do with our portfolios, our long-term picks and our short-term picks, of how we can navigate this new bear market. As you guys know, the S&P 500 is down, I think, about 28%, and the kind of metric that people use in knowing when the stock market is in a bear market is when it's down 20%. So we are deep in bear market territory, and like I said earlier, the president just announced today that we are likely going into a recession, and I completely agree with that. There are so many industries, airline industries, tourism industries, hotel industries, that are just laying off so many people, and so many employees are just losing their jobs because lots of these companies cannot keep working. Lots of companies throughout the states, especially restaurants, bars, they are closing down due to the government saying that we need to quarantine and social distance ourselves. So the economy is just slowing down, and some people think that it's going to be over in summer because of the heat, but there is no evidence whatsoever. There is no scientific evidence that the coronavirus, the COVID-19, is just going to disappear when summer comes around. And it is kind of widespread knowledge by now, especially within the scientific community. Now, let me be clear, I am not a scientist, I am not an expert at all in this field. I'm simply a day trader, but I've been doing lots of research on this because it does affect my line of work. And it's kind of common knowledge now that we're not going to see a vaccine for at least a year. There is just so much testing that has to be done to make sure that, number one, it's a safe vaccine and there's no side effects, and number two, that it even works. So the main thing is that, like, we're going to be seeing the overall economy, the global economy, just grind to a slowing halt, and that's going to just wipe away so much value that we've built up over the years in the stock market. So now as far as the sectors that I would focus on, and the sectors that we are actively focusing on in TradeBuddy, is just anything that has to do with coronavirus. Anything that is in the healthcare sector seems to be doing pretty well. A few weeks ago, the main ones that were doing really well were basically small cap companies that were announcing that they were getting into the vaccine development. Those were doing really good a few weeks ago, but like I said, people are realizing now that vaccines are just so far away. It's not really viable to invest in those right now. But one thing that is really viable to invest into right now is testing kits, because as you guys hopefully know by now, the US, the UK, Europe is just facing an extreme shortage of COVID-19 testing kits. So that is an area where we can easily see one of these companies just release a PR saying that they have emergency FDA approval on selling COVID-19 kits into the US, and that could make a small cap stock just completely rocket and see massive gains. So that's basically where I'm trying to focus most of my attention right now. Some stocks that are in that sector are AYTU, CODX, and DECN. Those are the main ones I've been kind of watching. Some other ones that I believe are going to have a very profound effect are going to be stocks that are within the medical supply industry. So face masks, hand sanitizer, desanitation wipes, mass desanitation, like you've probably seen those pictures from China where you have people walking around with these massive gas guns that just spray bleach everywhere. Those kind of things are going to be really needed over the next few weeks and few months as countries need to just do mass desanitization. So a few stocks that are within that industry are going to be DYNT. AHPI is going to be a really good one. They are in the mask industry and they have earnings, I believe, early next month, early April. And just overall stocks that have stuff to do and have news releases to do with medical devices, medical equipment. So those are kind of the main areas I'm focusing on. And now I'm going to go into my charts just to kind of break down the charts of mainly AYTU and DECN, and also a few of the stocks that I believe are going to be beneficial to watch in the short term. Alrighty, so here we are on my computer, and right now we are looking at the 30-minute chart of AYTU. This is a stock that I believe has good potential because they are really trying to get emergency FDA approval on their COVID-19 testing kit that they say is able to give back results in between 2 to 10 minutes. That's extremely fast, and that could be very beneficial in combating the COVID-19 breakout. So you can see here on FinViz, it doesn't actually show the float of AYTU here, it's actually missing, but you can see the shares outstanding is 20.43 million shares. So even if you don't have a paid scanner like Trade Ideas Pro or Equity Feed, you would know that the float is no bigger than 20 million shares. To bring up the news of AYTU, but AYTU has been actively trying to pump out news, just talking about the fact that they're trying to get emergency FDA approval on their COVID-19 testing kits. We saw the news over the weekend on Yahoo. It was also being pumped on Reddit, and we're just seeing this news actively being pumped out. They're trying to get exposure for this. So AYTU, I believe, has good potential as long as it keeps holding the support levels. Some main levels of support to keep an eye on. Number one, the $1 psychological support that it ended up holding. You can see it held a few times. Held right here on the 10th, and it tested again on Friday, held that as support. We also have good support around the 130s. And next main resistance levels are going to be above 220, 260, and then overall 280. So the main thing that AYTU would need at this point is they would just need some solid news that shows that they are closer to getting FDA approval on their COVID-19 testing kits. So if you are not in this already, I would say it's best to wait for news to come in. I would not just buy this randomly because it is kind of mid-range between support and resistance. If you are in this from say $1 or even $1.30, then I would say you can hold on to it and wait as long as it holds support, because if they do drop news, then it has a very good potential to just extremely rocket on great volume, and it has lots of potential. Next one that I actually am long, I am not long AYTU, just to be clear, DECN. Now DECN is an OTC, over-the-counter penny stock, but they are also in the COVID-19 testing area, where they are trying to also get emergency FDA approval on their COVID-19 testing kits. So DECN is definitely more of a long-term swing. This one I'm just holding on to it as long as it holds the big picture support. Main area I'm looking at right now is basically, if you've seen any of my other videos, then you would know this. I'm just looking for this to keep on holding that previous resistance as new support. So right now it's kind of right on the edge of that, but let's go to the 30-minute chart. I'm really interested in this as long as it can hold this 666 area. As long as it keeps holding that, then it does look very good. DECN actually did release news today. Let me bring up my equity feed in 1 second. So you can see on my scanner here on equity feed, DECN did actually release news today, where they gave an update on their coronavirus testing product Genviro, with 200,000 kits to be provided in USA and EU prior to the summer, and a 12-month forecast of 480 million kits. Now, there's no proof whatsoever that they're actually going to be able to sell this many kits. There's no proof that they're actually going to be able to get FDA approval, but just having that figure, 480 million kits, and they say that the wholesale price is going to be around $7 per kit. Just bring up a calculator real quick. You can go 480 million times we can lowball this and say $4 per kit. That's $1.9 billion of revenue from these testing kits. And if we just do some quick research on DECN, you can see that their market cap is only $1.5 million. So even if they get a fraction of that revenue, then obviously this company is very undervalued, and it has a lot of room to run. So within their news release today, they basically said that they are announcing in this first of 4 news releases expected in the next 14 days, further details of our revolutionary coronavirus screening test Genviro. So with this news release, they're basically saying, yeah, this is the first release that we're talking about it, and we're going to release 3 other news releases in the next 2 weeks. So basically saying, hey, like, we're going to keep releasing news on this, so you might as well get in now before it's too late. So that's why I believe this is a very good long. Be careful on this, especially if you don't have experience with OTCs. They are very risky to get into. You have to really know what you're doing. And I've traded OTCs for about 5 years now. So essentially with my trade, I have everything planned out. I know what my risk is, and I know what my profit target is. For DECN, I mean, as long as the chart remains overall bullish, and as long as it holds support, and especially if they can release news, my profit target on this is going to be at least 60 cents a share. And I know that may sound crazy, but I do think it's possible if the right things fall in place. So that's my main long that I'm long right now. Next stock that I believe has good potential, and this is one that has already gone on a massive run, is AHPI. This one actually ran into the $67 area in pre-market. You cannot see it here on E-Trade since it happened early on Thinkorswim. If you didn't know, Thinkorswim trades earlier than pre-market, or earlier than E-Trade in pre-market, so that's why it doesn't show up here. But AHPI is in the medical equipment field, and they are known to make N95 respiratory masks, and N95 masks are the only mask that are rated on basically filtering out viruses, so very good for COVID-19. And all we're waiting on with AHPI is they just need some sort of news release. They actually haven't mentioned at all that they're working on the COVID-19 sector, and it's already ran from 3s to 60s. So all they need to do is release some sort of news that they are working with, you know, a government official, a government entity, a company, just any type of news that they're going to be working on the COVID-19 outbreak, and this thing can get right back into the spotlight. And you can see from this chart, it is holding very good support in the low 10s. So as long as this keeps holding support, I'm going to keep watching it, and once they drop that news, I believe this thing can easily rocket. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video. Just want to give you guys some of those outlooks on some of those stocks I'm watching, and kind of what I'm focusing on in the current day trading environment. So these are not the only stocks I'm trading. I am looking for any stocks any single day that are within the coronavirus sector, and more specifically, either, you know, within the testing kit sector of COVID-19. If not the testing sector, then of course I'm looking for stocks that are in the medical device sector. Those two news releases are the ones that are moving the most. As time goes on, in a few weeks, in a few months, then I will start, giving more attention into stocks that have vaccine news. And of course, if any stock releases good news about a vaccine, then of course we can see them, run 50, 100, 200%. So don't ignore those completely, but just understand that vaccines are a very far ways away from being actually developed. So just keep that in mind. Last thing I want to say is, of course, all of these companies are very small experimental companies, and they're likely going to fail in the end. So don't get married to these stocks. That's what I always tell my students and my traders, is that you don't want to get married to any news release. No one company is going to change the world. No one company is going to change your trading future. So you can trade these stocks while they have good momentum, while they have good charts, but once it just looks bad, then you need to have the discipline to just split away and move on to the next one. That's what I would really recommend for you guys. So just because I'm long DECN right now, I could change that tomorrow depending on what happens with the chart. So make sure that you understand that. Once again, I am not recommending that you buy into any of these stocks. I am simply giving you guys my own perspective of what I believe is going to be good in this current stock market crash. All right, so if you guys have any questions on this, please leave a comment down below. And if you have any stocks that you want to recommend to the community, then please, you can feel free to drop them down below as well, and I'd be happy to look over those. And I'm sure other members that are watching too would be happy to watch those as well. With that being said, if you guys need any lessons on trading, I have so many videos on day trading and swing trading. Please feel free to hit the subscribe button and be notified of future videos. If you want a free trading workshop where I break down all the top 10 tips of trading, hit the first link in the description where it says trading workshop, and you can get signed up for that. And you can get my top 3 PDFs. Number 1, my ebook of how to day trade every morning. Number 2, my own personal trading checklist, the same one I use every single day to trade. And number 3, the top trading setups of 2020. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.